we are producing, and that is available after the flight. Did everybody get your safety brief this afternoon? Everybody's ready to go? Excellent. All right. No questions? All right, I'm going to get some radio calls and get us out of here. Once we're out of here, we can chat a little bit more. And I turn off the microphones. That's an FAA rule. So I'm going to go ahead and do that at this time. I'll turn them back on once we clear the busy airspace. All righty? All right, we are cleared for takeoff, so we're going to get this going. All right, folks, we are going to climb up to about 2,000 feet. We'll cross over the breakwall you see in front of us. This is the Marriott Beach Resort off our right side low. That beach fronting the Marriott is called Kalapaki Beach Park. This is where all our goods are shipped in. This is also where they park the cruise ships when they come into town, right over here on the right-hand side of the harbor here, where that long stretch of pier is. And then you can see the containerized shipping terminal over there as well. The Nawiliwili Small Boat Harbor, the recreational boat harbor, which is operated by the state of Hawaii. Just beyond that is the mouth of the Hululai Stream, also known as the Niamalo. We're going to fly along these mountains. Now, if you look on the far side of the stream, or I guess from here it'd be the right side of the stream, there's a pond over there. Now, that pond is man-made. That was built there by the early Hawaiians to give them easy access to fish a long time ago. They think perhaps as many as 600 years ago. It's called the Alakoko Fish Pond. Microphones are on, so if you have any questions, comments, you're curious about anything, go ahead and feel free to use the microphones. Now, a lot of movies filmed here on the island of Kauai, and I'll point out some of the shoot locations as we go. But right out of the gate here, a couple of movies I'll mention. A little movie called The Descendants with George Clooney. Now, there was a scene in that movie where George drives up with his movie family in a Jeep, and they get out and look down into a beach property and lament about the good times they had. That scene was shot right up here at this saddle. See where the road goes through the saddle there? That's where they got out, right there at the saddle, looking over into this beach property on the left-hand side. It's called Kipukai. The property above the beach being the central theme of that movie. Now, the beach itself was used as a shoot location in the movie 6 Days, 7 Nights with Anne Hesh and Harrison Ford. So all those scenes were there on the beach with the crashed plane. Shot right over there as well. We're going to roll out now on a west heading, right along the mountains, cruise about 105 knots, westbound, level 2,000 feet. That makes the left side of the helicopter the South Shore, Kauai, and the right, the North Shore. Left side is where the Grand Hyatt is located, as well as the Sheraton, Poipu Beach, Shipwreck, Sperna Keys, all located over there on the left side. This large reservoir you see off our left front is called the Waitā Reservoir, and this was used to irrigate sugar. That's been back when they used to grow sugar here. Sugar was king here for about 150 years, but since 2008, no more commercial sugar here on the island of Kauai. Sugar is a bygone era. Many of these fields you're looking at today were cultivated in sugarcane, now converted, much of it converted to cattle ranching. Cattle ranching still a big business here, and probably going to get bigger with the opening of some of the Asian markets to U.S. beef. So hopefully that'll benefit Kauai's economy. Some of these communities you see off the left side, that is Old Kaloa Town, just beyond the reservoir. And then off our front left, we've got Omeo, Levi, and Kalaheo up on the hill. Those communities straddle the main road. You can see it's coming in from the right side over here. It's called Kaumoli'i Highway. It's also known as Highway 50, and it's basically the road that goes all the way around up to where Palahali Beach, and the road gets pinched off by the Napali there. It doesn't go all the way around the island. There is a spur or a section that branches off here. It's called the tree tunnel. These trees along the road are old eucalyptus trees. They call this the tree tunnel. The trees we're coming up over now, this is a purposefully planted grove of albizia trees, African albizia trees. These trees originally from Malaysia. They were brought here by the plantation owners to help reforest the island. This occurred about 90 years ago. They brought them here along with the eucalyptus trees right about the same time. Now they're considered invasive, so they're not planting them anymore on the island. They did plant a bunch of it to support the biomass industry, but they've thought better of it now. They're changing their minds, and once these albizia have been cut, they get replaced by the eucalyptus, and that's what's occurred down here. That was until about a year ago, that was albizia down there, and they cut it and replaced with eucalyptus. Now, they don't waste the wood. They take the wood and chip it, and then pelletize those wood chips and burn them in the biomass power plant for electricity. Yeah, so no waste. So far, it's been a pretty nice day to fly. We had, it's a little bit windy today, but not too bad. I've seen it a lot worse. Today, catch a couple of bumps right in through here. A few other places on the island, but nice, pretty nice day for flying. Kauai is notorious for its turbulence. That's because of the rough mountains. Yes, Jeff.
When it rained this morning, do you end up canceling, or do you just ride through the rain?
Well, it depends. You'd be surprised on how rainy it can be, and we still do a tour. Sometimes it's hard to tell from where we're, the terminal, but we have some cameras up there on the North Shore. We can take advantage of. We also have radar, and we take a look at the radar. The problem with the radar is it sits right over here, and right over there. And it doesn't penetrate the mountains, so it's hard for us to see what's on the North Shore. But, so we make kind of an educated guess as to whether we can get around the island or not and be able to see what's called site-specific areas. This being one of them. This is called, this is Hanapepe Valley and the waterfall, Manawai Puna. This waterfall, we like to show this waterfall because it was the waterfall that was used in the first Jurassic Park movie. That's why they call it Jurassic Falls. This is where they shot the scene in the movie where the helicopter flies up the valley and then gets up to the waterfall and lands right at the base of the falls on a pad that's no longer there. That pad was built just for the movie.
Now, can you still access the waterfall?
No, this is all private property down here, so this is all closed off to the general public. The only folks that see this waterfall are the ones that get the helicopter tour. Island Helicopters has a contract with the Robinson family, and they can land their helicopter there, but they're the only ones. That's why we hate them. See the rainbow in the waterfall? Waterfalls above Mauna Vaipuna are called the Kahili Falls. These waterfalls get a group name. We'll come around to the left here, back to the west. The private property, the Robinsons. A little bit about the Robinsons, kind of interesting. They came over originally from Scotland, and then emigrated from Scotland to New Zealand, and spent a number of years in New Zealand. This was the mid-1800s. This was back when New Zealand was relatively isolated and still controlled for the most part by the Maori. But the UK, the British were trying to, settle New Zealand along with Australia right about that time. So they were encouraging folks to go there. But they only spent a few years there, a number of years, and then ended up emigrating from New Zealand to Hawaii. When they got to Hawaii, they had a bunch of money because they had liquidated all their assets there in New Zealand. So they had money in the form of British crowns or gold sovereigns, I guess they were. They first bought the island of Niihau for $10,000 in gold, and then later, about 5 or 6 years later, they came here and bought all this property. The island of Niihau, you should be able to see. It's a little hard to see today with the haze, the air quality here today. It is kind of hard to see. It's getting harder. But you can see just to barely see the outline. See that right out there? That's 18 miles off the southwest coast of Kauai. They bought that island first. They didn't realize how dry it was. This was in 1864. They bought it from the monarchy at the time. Hawaii was a monarchy. And then about 5 or 6 years later, they came here and bought all this property. So all these fields you see out the left door, that's the productive portions of the land. That's where they used to grow sugarcane and raise cattle. They still raise cattle, but they don't raise sugar there anymore. And then they also bought all this upland property because they don't want to make the same mistake they made with the island of Niihau. The island of Niihau, they didn't have enough water to do anything with it. Water very important. So when they came here, they made sure they had all this water. If you look off the right side of the helicopter, this is called Olukele Canyon. That's the back of Olukele Canyon, the base of Mount Kauai, and you can see how the clouds are spilling over like a waterfall. The summit of Mount Kauai, just to the right side of where those clouds are spilling over. That's where the Robinson's Corner Post is located. That also happens to be the highest point on the island. It's also the wettest spot on the island. Highest point, 5,243 feet. So they used all that water that washes down off the top to raise sugarcane. Their property line goes down along the other side of Olukele Canyon. You can see it right there. Once we cross it, it'll become public land, but that's their property line right there. So 49,000 acres. Yeah. That actually was given to him, that property. It was gifted to him. I don't know if the monarchy felt like they had cheated. They had cheated the Robinsons at the time because I think they were a little upset with the island of Niihau. They had the island of Niihau, and they just never really did much with it. But Elizabeth Sinclair, the original purchaser, didn't feel like she could do anything. She made a promise to King Kamehameha IV that she would take care of the people. They've never felt like, the family has never felt like they could sell the island, sell it. They had offers. In 2005, the federal government wanted the island, and they offered them $1 billion for the island. They were going to expand operations for PMRF, the Pacific Missile Range Facility, but they turned them down, and you know, the federal government, they can force a sale by condemning. So they came to a compromise, and they ended up leasing some land there to them so they could set up some stuff there that they wanted to for the PMRF, the Pacific Missile Range Facility. Now we're proceeding up the valley here, proceeding up Waimea Canyon. You can see how dry and parched it looks in here. Very hot, very dry. I only get about 23 inches of rain per year right in through here. What's happened is we've flown right into the leeward side of the island while I was talking about the Robinsons. This is also known as the rain shadow of the mountain range off our right side. So you get all that warm moist air that blows in from the northeast, and as it gets pushed up, it cools. Cooler has less capacity to hold moisture than warm air, and that moisture gets squeezed out like a wet sponge. It condenses out and forms that bank of clouds you saw falling over Mount Kauai. That's very common to see that. All those clouds bunched up there hold that moisture, and it gets deposited right in that spot up there. Now that moisture's got to go somewhere, and what happens is it washes down through the Alakai Swamp, and that's what's created all these streams that come in from the right. There are 3 of them that came in, eventually joining the Waimea River we're flying parallel to now.